Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Natalie. Today we are doing our June TBR, where my TBR cards pick my reads for June, which I'm so excited about. Last month we did Booktubers Choose my TBR, and I'm actually very proud of myself. I got through almost all those books, and I'm going to try to finish them this week so we can completely finish out that TBR. But this month I wanted to go back to the TBR cards because I just love picking out random TBR cards and seeing what I get. And I've gotten quite a few new books within the past couple of months from the Amazon sale, and then just a little bit of book shopping, so I wanted to add them all to my TBR cart and then we can go through them. Also, June is Pride Month, so I do have quite a few LGBTQ plus books on this TBR cart, so we're going to definitely pick some of those out. But let's just get into our June TBR. I have these cards printed out. I think there's like 70 plus cards in here. They're from an Etsy shop called Buy Instantly Booked. I'll link them down below, but they have these TBR cards that you can just print out. I bought them a couple months ago on Etsy and I've been loving them. It just makes it easy to have prompts ready at all times. So that's what we're going to be choosing from. I think I'm going to do like 7 or 8 books this month. I do have a couple trips planned and some things going on, so those I'm keeping in mind for like the specific occasion. But besides that, we're just gonna see what we get. Let's dig into book number 1 of June and see what we get. Ooh, okay. First prompt is a highly anticipated book. I don't know if this means for me it's highly anticipated or just in general there's like a big hype around it. I think I'm gonna go with a book that has had a lot of hype around it because I didn't read it right when it was released, but I think I know which book I'm gonna choose for this. I feel like I have to go with Funny Story by Emily Henry for this. This was released, I think this past month or maybe in April. I don't remember the exact release date, but it came out within the past couple of months and I've seen so many people read this. If you've watched my videos before, I'm not the biggest Emily Henry fan. I feel like I don't vibe with her writing as much as other people do necessarily, which is totally fine, but I do enjoy it and I do want to read her new releases. So I've been wanting to pick this up and I kind of put it on my actual shelf a while ago without putting it on my TBR cart. I kind of forgot about it a little bit. So I definitely want to add this to the TBR and I feel like it'll be good going into summertime. This book's about Daphne. She's in a relationship. Well, she's a fiance to this guy named Peter. Peter basically realizes he's in love with his childhood best friend Petra, so they kind of go their separate ways, and Daphne's trying to begin this new story. She's in Michigan and she has this new job as a librarian. She ends up running into Petra's ex, who's like the only person who would obviously understand her situation right now because he's on the other side of it, and they become roommates and kind of decide to post their summer of highlights, kind of misleading people to believe they're having a really great summer. We'll see like what their friendship brings. I honestly haven't really looked into too many reviews of this because I wanted to form my own opinions about it. We'll see if I like it, but I definitely wanted to add it to my June TBR. So Funny Story is going to be our first book on my June TBR. Book number 2 of June, a book you think you'll rate 5 stars. Let's look around a little bit because I'm not sure off the top of my head yet. I think this is the one I'm leaning towards for a book that I think I'm going to rate 5 stars. And the reason I say this is because it's very different from things I've read before, but I've heard so many great things about this, especially from Lauren Sydney. She raves about this on Instagram. I went and picked this one up recently. Didn't really know too much about it, just that everyone who read it said they absolutely loved it. So I feel like out of all the books on the shelf right now, this is the one I would expect to rate 5 stars. So I'm very intrigued by this. I don't think the back gives a lot about what it's going to be about, which is sometimes a good thing, but this story is about a tiny community called Beartown. They haven't really been good at anything in a long time until their junior ice hockey team ends up competing in these national semifinals. So the whole town is kind of like relying on them to kind of bring their town out of this rut. But the semifinal game actually becomes this catalyst for a violent act in their town, which I'm very intrigued like what this act is and what happens with that. But it basically leaves a young girl traumatized in like this town in turmoil. So I think there will be like a lot of good lessons in this book. So that's why I think I would anticipate rating this one 5 stars. But I really hope so because I've been wanting a 5-star book so badly and I have not found one this year, which is kind of crazy, but I just really haven't. So I feel like out of all the books on this cart right now, this would be the one I would think I would rate 5 stars. We're gonna add this one to the June TBR and hopefully we end up rating it 5 stars. Book number 3 of June. If I can grab one. Ooh, okay, this is so interesting. A book with a great first sentence. So I'm definitely gonna have to do some digging here. I might pick a few books that I've really been wanting to read and read the first sentence of each of those and then kind of go from there because I have a lot of books on this TBR card. Let's grab a few and then we'll read the first sentence and then I'll decide based on that. The 3 books I'm gonna read the first sentence from are these 3. So the first one is Swimming in the Dark. Let's see what the first sentence is. I'm reading the prologue of this. It says, I don't know what woke me up tonight. So very short. There's not that much to that one. The next one is Late Bloomer. This is a queer book, so we'll see what the first sentence is of this one. It says, I feel, to put it delicately, like a dickhead. Okay, so that one definitely stands out to me more than the first one. And then the third one I want to read the first sentence to is Down the Drain by Julia Fox. I've heard her story is very interesting. This one has definitely intrigued me, but the first sentence of this one is, the year is 1996 and I just landed in the grand metropolis of New York City. I feel like out of these 3, based on the first sentence, I'm gonna go with Late Bloomer. This is a queer book, which is perfect for June. This book sounds very interesting to me. It's about Opal. She ends up winning the lottery. People are coming out of the woodworks, bombarding her, trying to get money from her, because that's what people do when you win the lottery, unfortunately. But she is overwhelmed and feels like she can't say no to anyone, so she basically wants to isolate herself. She ends up buying this flower farm in Asheville, North Carolina, and once she gets there, she comes into contact with someone named Pepper, who says that she's the rightful owner to this farm. They strike up this agreement where they're just gonna cohabitate on this farm, but they end up forming a connection, and then as you can probably see by the cover, it ends up being more. So I'm very interested to read this one. I love the cover. I think it's so pretty, and again, great for June because it's Pride Month, so this will be a good one to read in June, and I'm excited. But based on the first sentence, this is the book we're going with for the third prompt. Book number 4. For how fun it is to find prompts and like figure out the books you want to read, I love doing it this way. Book number 4 is a genre you love to read. As of lately, I have definitely been in a romance mood. I've read a lot of romance books and I haven't really gotten tired of them lately, which is a good thing for me, but I would say as of right now, the genre I'm going to pick out of these is romance, and I think I know which one I'm going to pick. I've honestly had Hopeless on quite a few other TBR cards and I haven't picked it up. I don't know why. Maybe part of me doesn't want to end the Chestnut Spring series, and that's why I've been avoiding picking this up. I actually recently finished Wild Love by Elsie Silver before I even read this one, so I feel like it's about time that I finish this one. And I'm going on this little BFF trip with my best friend Lucy in the middle of June, and the place we're staying at is giving Chestnut Springs vibes out the wazoo. I'll probably make a video on there so you guys can see how much this reminds me of Chestnut Springs, but the place we're going and staying at, it's kind of like in the country. There's horses. I'm very excited, and I feel like this will be the perfect book to read, obviously, while I'm there. So I really want to bring this one on the trip, and that's what's been in my head. It's about time that we finish the Chestnut Springs series, and I figured this is the perfect trip to do it on. So we're gonna add this one to the genre I've been loving because it's romance, obviously, and I really need to finish this series. So we're gonna do it this month. I will vlog it for you guys. Book number 5 of the June TBR, a book that ends in an even number of pages. So again, we're gonna have to do a little bit of digging. The first one I'm gonna grab for is Terms and Condition by Lauren Asher to check, because I recently read the first book in the Dreamland Billionaire series and I really enjoyed it. Just kind of recently gotten to Lauren Asher and I've become obsessed with her, so I've been wanting to read this one. But let's see if it ends in an even number of pages. It ends on page 466, so we are all good. Even number of pages. This is about Declan and Iris. Declan is destined to become the next CEO of his family's media empire, basically, but there's clauses that prevent him from doing so. So one of the clauses is he has to be married, and Iris is his assistant and she volunteers to get married to him so he can become the CEO of this company. Obviously things get a little sticky within that. I've been loving Lauren Asher lately, so I feel like this is a good one to pick up, and it ends in an even number of pages, so we are good to go on that. And this is book number 5 of June. Moving on to book number 6, a book that's part of a series, which the past 2 I've picked are part of a series, but we're gonna pick another one. A book that's part of a series. I think the book I'm gonna pick for the series one is Hook, Line, and Sinker by Tessa Bailey. This is the second book to It Happened One Summer, which I think I read last summer and I loved it so much more than I expected to. I think I've added this one to my TBRs too, but I haven't like wanted to pick it up because it wasn't in the summertime, and now that it's gotten to summertime, I definitely want to pick it up. This one is about Fox Thornton and Hannah. Hannah is in town for work and she ends up crashing in Fox's spare bedroom. She knows he's like this big ladies man, doesn't want anything to do with him. She actually has a crush on someone else, so one of her other coworkers, but a line between friendship and flirtation is kind of crossed between the two of them, and so it obviously leads to more than just friendship. But I think again again, this is a perfect summer read, and the second book too, It Happened One Summer, so I'm gonna add this one for the series, and this is book number 6 for June. We're gonna do 2 more books for June. Number 7 is a book with a cover you don't like. I gotta be a little picky and mean here. This is kind of hard because I feel like I like quite a few of the covers on my TBR cart right now, but I'm gonna go with Unmissing by Minka Kent. This is a thriller, so it's a good little variety to add into the TBR. I'd say I don't really like this cover just because there's an actual person on it. I don't love covers with actual people on them typically. I don't know, it just doesn't give you a lot, obviously, which is probably the point, but I would say out of all the ones I had to pick one, and this is gonna be it. But it's a thriller, so I'm excited because we have a lot of romance in here, so I feel like this will be good to break it up. I think this story sounds very interesting. It's about a girl named Merritt and her husband Luca. They've kind of built this dream life together. They live on the coast with this beautiful coastal house, and one night Luca's ex-wife comes knocking, which they're very shocked by because she is supposed to be dead. She's been missing for like 10 years and no one has found her, but she shows up to their house and says that she was kidnapped for the past 10 years. She's been living in confinement and she finally escaped, basically. Just so terrifying, but they agree that they're going to help her back on her feet because this is his ex-wife, and so they want to help her get back on her feet after everything she's been through. But they kind of start to find missing parts into her story and don't entirely think her story is completely real, so I'm very intrigued by this. But again, for the cover I dislike most, I guess this is going to be our book. So number 7 of June is Unmissing by Minka Kent. And then last book number 8 of June, a book picked by someone else. I'm gonna text my best friend Lucy because I'm pretty sure Jensen's taking a nap right now, so she's unavailable for this. I'm gonna send her a picture of 2 books, so let's see, which ones am I gonna choose? These are the 2 books I pulled earlier. I want to read both of them, so I think I'm gonna send these 2 and see which one she tells me to read. So let's take a picture. I send her a text with the 2 books, and hopefully she texts me soon. I told her to tell me ASAP. Hopefully she's looking on her phone. Okay. She said Julia Fox, duh. So we are gonna go with Down the Drain by Julia Fox. I've heard the audiobook for this is really good, so maybe we'll have to listen to it a bit once we get into it. But if you guys don't know who Julia Fox is, I think she like got pretty famous from dating Kanye West, but she was famous before that. She has a very interesting life story and she wrote a book, so I'm excited to read this and find out more about her life because I think she's very funny. All the videos I see from her, I honestly really like her, so I'm excited to see more about her story. But this is going to be our last book for our June TBR. Those were all the books I ended up picking for my June TBR. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know if you've read any of these or what books are on your June TBR, because we're going into summer now. I love this time of year, going into summer reads, like reading out by the pool, the lake, beach, all that kind of stuff. I feel like it's the best time, so I'm very excited to pick all these books up in June and hopefully we can get through them all. But I hope you guys enjoyed this. Thank you so much for watching. I love you, and I'll see you guys in my next one.